Hello listeners, this video discusses the history of Tom Jones, a Foundling, written by Henry Fielding. Tom Jones is a comic novel. It falls under the category of Bildungsroman. Bildungsroman is a literary criticism. It is a separate genre that focuses on psychological and the moral growth of the protagonist right from the childhood to adulthood of the protagonist. This novel also falls under picaresque novel. It is a genre under prose fiction which depicts the adventures of an appealing hero. An appealing hero usually falls under a low social class who lives in a corrupt society. This novel was first published in 1749 in London. The novel is mentioned by Somerset Maugham in his book Great Novelists and Their Novels. This book was published in the year 1948. Let us see a small outline about this novel. This novel is an ambitious book of Fielding because it attempts to portray the nuances of real life in Britain. Henry Fielding wrote this novel after the death of his wife. Her death traumatized him. There are many elements in this novel that portrays his personal life, especially the character of Sophia Weston portrays his wife, and the character Nightingale and Nancy Miller pictures the marriage life between Henry Fielding and Mary Daniel. Mary Daniel is the second wife of Henry Fielding, who is the former maid of his first wife. The novel attained success among many critics. It retained its eminent position in the literary canon. In this novel, Fielding explores his comedy narrative. Let us see about Henry Fielding. He was born in the year 1707 and died in the year 1754. He was an English novelist and a dramatist. He is popular for his works of earthy humour and satire. Henry Fielding and Samuel Richardson are the founders of traditional English novel during the 18th century. Let us see some of the notable works of Henry Fielding. Shamila is a novella written in the year 1741. The history of the adventures of Joseph Andrews and his friend Mr. Abraham Adams, 1742. The Life and Death of Jonathan Wild the Great, 1743. Amelia, 1751. He has also written plays and poems. Some of his works are also adapted into films. Especially his novel Tom Jones was made into film by John Osborne in the year 1963. The same novel is produced and edited by contemporary directors. The novel totally has 18 books. Apart from 18 books, there is a last chapter that titles The Dedication. Let us see the characters of this novel. Squire Allworthy, he is a respectful gentleman and the guardian of Tom. Allworthy believes that Tom is a foundling. Foundling means an infant who is abandoned by its parents and is discovered and then taken care by others. Allworthy is a brother of Bridget Allworthy. Bridget Allworthy is a sister of Squire Allworthy. She is married at the beginning of the story. She becomes Mrs. Bilfill after her marriage. She is married to Captain Bilfill. She is an unattractive and immoralized by Haggard. She is a mother of Master Bilfill. After her death, it is revealed that she is the mother of Tom Jones. Mrs. Wilkins, who is a servant to Miss Bridget Allworthy. This lady is given the task to find Tom's mother. Tom Jones, he is a hero of the story. He is believed to be an illegitimate child of low birth. As he grows, he looks handsome, generous, popular, and passionate. The novel travels along with Tom Jones just from his infant to his adulthood. He pursues Miss Sophia Weston. Jenny Jones, who is a beautiful woman. At first, Jenny is believed to be Tom's mother, and later in the story it is revealed that Jenny was paid to confess the real mother of Tom Jones. Dr. Bilfill, he is a friend of Allworthy's. He falls in love with Bridget Allworthy. Captain Bilfil, he is a half-pay officer in the Allworthy's estate. He falls in love with Bridget Allworthy. He is also keen to marry her to inherit Allworthy's property. After their marriage, Bridget Allworthy hates him. Though she hates, she erects a monument to his memory, and he is a father of Master Bilfil. Partridge, he is a school teacher. He is an outcast due to his community. Mrs. Partridge, she is a jealous woman. Mr. Squire, he is a philosopher who resides at Allworthy household as a friend and also an advisor to Tom Jones and Master Bilfil. Sophia, who is the daughter of Squire Weston, she is the heroine of the novel. This character represents Henry Fielding's loved wife named Charlotte Cardock. Sophia is drawn to Tom's gentlemanly ways, though she believes initially that Tom belongs to a low class. She later marries Master Bilfil. She does an arranged marriage. Squire Weston, who is a neighbor of Allworthy and the father of Sophia, he's a hunter and he's fond of Tom. Lady Bellaston. Bellaston is based in London and she falls for Tom. She keeps Sophia and Tom apart in order to flirt with Tom. There are many other characters in this novel. Let us see those characters when we deal the summary of this novel. As the novel begins, the author of the novel says that he has to explore human nature. The novel introduces Squire Allworthy and his sister Bridget Allworthy in their wealthy estate in Somerset. Allworthy has just returned from London. Soon as he finishes his business trip, he gets into his room and finds an abandoned baby sleeping in his bed. In anger, he summons his housekeeper, who is Mrs. Deborah Wilkins, to take care of the child and to find the parents of the child. Deborah Wilkins searches for the baby's parents and she is told about a young woman named Jenny Jones, who is a servant of a schoolmaster and his wife. She believes that this lady Jenny Jones is likely to be committed the deed. It is believed that she has left the baby in the house of Allworthy. When she is called for the enquiry by the Allworthys, she refuses to reveal the father's identity. Mr. Allworthy, along with Partridges, for whom Jenny works as a servant, they together remove her. Allworthy instructs his sister to raise the boy, and Bridget names the boy as Thomas. Dr. Bilfil and Captain Bilfil are brothers. They regularly visit Allworthy's estate. Captain Bilfil's brother, Dr. Bilfoot, introduces Captain to Bridget in the hope to marry Allworthy's sister to Captain. Soon Allworthy's sister and Captain Bilfil marries, and after the marriage, Captain Bilfil, he begins to show a coldness to his brother Bilfil, and he leaves to London, eventually dies of a broken heart. Later that week, Captain Bilfil and his wife comes to know that Bilfil has fathered a boy who grows up with Tom Jones. Captain Bilfil's son, who is named as Master Bilfil, he is a jealous boy who conspires Tom. Tom grows as a lusty boy, yet he is honest and kind-hearted. Tom gets close with the servants and the gamekeepers in their house, rather mingling with the gentry members. He gets close with Black George, who is a gamekeeper there, and he gets to love Molly, who is the second daughter of Black George. Molly is a beautiful girl, and Molly is the first love of Tom. Soon Molly gets pregnant by Tom, and she obliged to offer her his protection. Then Tom falls in love with a neighboring squire's daughter named Sophia Weston. Sophia and Tom, they confess their love to each other. Sophia falls in love with Tom. Soon after, he broke his arm rescuing Sophia. Tom, who is a fatherless boy, Sophia's father and Allworthy disagree their wedding due to the fatherless nature of Tom. In addition to this, his lowness and low class situation prompts them to disapprove their love. Soon after, Squire Allworthy he falls ill and he convinces himself that he will die soon. Soon after, his family and the servants gather around his bed as he disposes his wealth. He gives a favorable amount to Tom Jones, which displeases Master Bilful. But Tom did not consider any of the possession given by Squire Allworthy. He is only concerned of Allworthy's health. After this, Allworthy's health improves. Tom Jones, he started to drink and he ends up fighting with Master Bilful. At the same time, Mrs. Bridget Allworthy dies in London. Sophia Bilful wants to conceal her love to Tom. In order to get the attention of Tom, she stays with Bilful and Tom. This makes Sophia's aunt, Mrs. Weston, to believe that Sophia and Bilful are in love. Sophia's father, Squire Weston, also wants Sophia to marry Bilful in order to gain property from the Allworthy estate. But when Bilful learns that Sophia loves Tom Jones, he gets anger. Bilful adds fire to Allworthy, saying that when he was ill, Tom was out drinking and singing and celebrating his death. Hearing this, Allworthy gets angry and he banishes Tom. Soon as Tom vanishes, Sophia is forced to marry Bilful, for which Sophia too flees in order to avoid her fate. Eventually, Tom, as he expelled from Allworthy's estate, he begins to adventure across Britain. He then goes to London. On his way, he meets a barber named Partridge, who was also banished from the town as he was thought to be Tom's father. Tom and Partridge get along together, and during their journey they end up at an inn. When they are staying at an inn, a lady and her maid arrive and an angry man arrives at the inn. Meantime, Tom rescues a woman whose name is Mrs. Waters. That angry man who came inside the inn, he was looking for Mrs. Fitzpatrick. Mrs. Fitzpatrick is a cousin and a friend of Sophia, who is married to Brain Fitzpatrick. He is an Irishman who abuses his wife. His wife is the former lady whom I mentioned. Her full name is Harriet Fitzpatrick. Meantime, Sophia and her maid arrive at the same inn. Partridge just says that Tom and Mrs. Waters are in relationship. Hearing this, Sophia leaves with Mrs. Fitzpatrick, who is her cousin. She moves to London. They then go to Lady Belston's house. Even Tom and Partridge go to Lady Belston's house. Tom confesses his true love to Sophia and he says that she is her true love and nobody else. Later that day, Tom ends up fighting with Mr. Fitzpatrick, which leads him to imprisonment. Eventually, the birth of Tom is revealed by Mrs. Waters. Mrs. Waters' real name is Jenny Jones, who is supposed to be Tom's mother, but Tom's real mother is in fact Bridget Allworthy, who convinced him after an affair with the schoolmaster, that is Partridge. Thus, Tom is Squire Allworthy's nephew. Bilful learns that Tom is the half-brother of him, and Allworthy decides to bestow most of his inheritance to Tom. After Tom's parentage revealed, Tom and Sophia marry. Sophia begets a son and a daughter, and the couple live happily with the blessings of Squire Weston and Squire Allworthy. Let us see the themes of this novel. This novel takes place with a backdrop of Jacobite in 1745. The novel reveals the human nature to the readers. Especially Tom's character is portrayed in a genuine way. Soon after the reveal of his parentage, everyone celebrates him and gives him more inheritance, hypocrisy, fortune, money, wealth, and greed. Hope this video helps. If you have query, please write it down on the comment section. Thank you for listening.